Just leaving the hotel here in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Got about a 30-minute drive. Meet with the landowners. Got about 600 acres. I'm going to do a tour today, look and help him design a habitat and hunting management plan site specific for his property. And every property we visited this week, it's had a different plan, different strategy. Let's get on the road and we'll see what this landowner's property looks like. It's going to be a good day. Good morning. Touring a property with Keith. He's landowner, actually is partnered up with a couple of his buddies and owns about 600 acres here in Mississippi. And we're out touring today. It's raining, but it's a great day to be out here. So I just wanted to introduce Keith and have him share kind of his goals and objectives for this property and kind of some of the things, the projects that he started on and where he wants to be. So Keith, why don't you just share with folks what's going on?
So we purchased this property probably 4 or 5 years ago, and basically it's just open hardwoods, not a lot of deer. So we're trying to maximize, the amount of deer we can have on the property, give them the food that they need. And, basically this is like one of our big food plots here that we're looking at. And we just want to be able to maximize, the grass or protein available to the deer, and maybe eliminate some of the erosion problems that we're having, because it's just very, very hilly, aggressive land here. And just want to make the hunting better and give everybody a good opportunity.
You've planted a blend. Was it a 5-way blend or
five-way blend? It had cereal, rye, wheat, oats, and 2 types of clover.
So had a good blend. We're probably going to try to beef that up a little more and get a few more species in here to have even more diversity, because there's a lot of benefits to having diversity. Not only food for deer, but different root systems to help hold erosion. They've been disking, so we're talking about no-till drilling, crimping, starting the release process to start improving the soil health. And we were talking about earlier that soil health is kind of the foundation of it all. We want really good soil so we have healthy food plots to make them as attractive as we can to help pull deer into the property and have those encounters. And as we're driving through here, we're just going to walk out in the food plot, and I want you to look at this. There's a big erosion ditch right on the side of the road, and we were talking about this, and Keith shared that they had some equipment in here and kind of rutted this up a little bit, but they've also been disking this plot. And when we're driving by, I wanted to show this because this is pretty interesting. We walk right out here. How much rain do you think we've had in the past 24 hours or so? Because storms come through. We've had some rain here.
It was just a little over an inch.
Little over an inch. And the rain's just sitting on top of the soil. It can't go anywhere. Right before we pulled the phone out, we were talking and saying, if we were drilling and we had a good blend in here and we're improving soil health, that water's not going to sit on top of the soil. It's going to go down. And I mean, that soil right there, you can tell up on top, and then just a few inches below, not as much water's going down there.
Yeah, it's dry.
We need that infiltration. We want to hold that water so when it gets dry out, plants have water and can pull water. Right now, we're losing a lot of water. It's just sitting, pooling up. You can see these little spots right here. It's just pooling up, and that's going to evaporate. It's either doing that or it's running off in that erosion ditch.
Yeah, you can see where it just runs right down.
Oh, yeah. We can see just right up here, it's just eroding all the way down and going right down the road. And we're losing soil. We're losing our water. We can change our food plot methods and save our soil, save that water, and have high quality forage for our deer and turkeys. So we're going to change our food plot method, and this is just really telling of the current status of what's going on here. but it's going to change, and we're going to turn this around. So Keith, this is a great start, and as we improve it, you'll see a lot of results here.
Yep, looking forward to it.
All right, we were just in this food plot and kind of got a wild hair, and I said, Keith, let's walk over here and check something out. So we pulled up a clump of wheat out of his food plot, and check this out. It may not show up on camera, but it's very light in color, isn't it?
Yes, very light.
Not a lot of carbon, and the roots are very white, which means there's not soil sticking to the roots. There's not exudates, almost like a glue, holding soil onto the roots. So we have a lot of pooling, no carbon out in this food plot. We stepped right in here where we have some native species. We have trees, we have diversity. We have a lot of different types of roots working. We're just a few feet out of his food plot. You can see right here's where I pulled it up. Pulled up this, look at this. Very dark with that carbon, which is turning this soil dark, and the soil structure is very different. You can see it's kind of chunky, and that means we have pockets for air to fill up with water and take in the water, and this soil is actually infiltrating water. We look back here, there's no pooling along the ground, just a few feet away, because we have roots, microbes, diversity. We have so much going on, and look at the difference between these two soils. And these roots are actually holding little pieces of soil, which means we have microbes in here. And I even had Keith kind of stick his nose down here and smell the soil. And what was your observation, Keith?
So the wheat had no smell whatsoever, and the part that we pulled out of the woods actually has a strong soil smell. I mean, you can really smell it. Big difference. There's nothing here.
So his soil's pretty much dead out there. We'll just call it dirt. This is soil. It's living, and just a few feet away. This was just an observation we made, and I think very telling of what we need to get going on out there to be a much more productive food plot. So we're going to implement the release process and turn his soil around. And I think here in a few years, we'll be seeing more of this out in his food plots.
Yep, big difference.
Keith and I are driving around the property, and we came up to this little hidey old food plot, and there's something out here. It's got Keith smiling, you can see. So let's go take a look and see what we find.
Growing Deer is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Also by Green Cover Food Plots, Winchester, PH Outdoors, Moultrie Mobile, Steel, Fleet Outdoor Apparel, Morel Targets, Fourth Arrow, Scorpion Venom Archery, Case IH Tractors, Ward Laboratories, Burris Optics, G5 Broadheads, Prime Bows, and Redneck Hunting Blinds.
Do you know that deer?
He actually, we got him early season, and then he disappeared off the property and just showed up towards the end of January. Came back again.
Because you have some nice food plots, and the limited resource this time of year is food. And he's back, and sure enough, he's feeding out in this food.
He just left him out here to antagonize me.
Nice find.
Unbelievable.
Good, I can see it. We've come to a spot where a couple years ago, 2 years ago, we did a cut, kind of a clear cut through this area, and really opened up these slopes, and great native habitat coming on. In fact, we just jumped a young buck that was bedded out there, and I'm looking across here and I'm going, man, Keith, if we had this throughout the entire property, we'd have high quality habitat for deer. But 2 years ago was this cut. It's looking good right now, but we need to get fire in there to start managing this, or we could quickly lose this area. Sweet gums coming in, hardwood saplings, some nasty, privet. If we got to get fire in there, we may need to manage with some herbicide. So we've got to get in here quickly or we'll lose it. But right now, this is some great habitat, but we need a plan. Don't just clear cut and think we've made habitat. You need a plan and you need to have good follow-up. So working with Keith, talking about prescribed fire, and then I just we stood here and I said, Keith, imagine if this was throughout your entire property, this type of habitat, and maybe not do clear cut again in some areas, but more hack and squirt, so we can be a little more selective of which trees we're leaving. Leave those big oak trees Keith wants to hunt when they're dropping acorns in the timber, but then as a rifle hunter, be able to look into these slopes and capitalize on this habitat. So we're really diving into the native habitat here, prescribed fire, hack and squirt, and what that looks like, but we've got to follow up and manage this appropriately. Keith and I have stepped into the hardwoods and we're kind of talking TSI and what hack and squirt and double girdling looks like, those methods we use to strategically choose which trees we're going to keep and which trees we're going to take out of here. We need a lot of sunlight reaching the ground. Keith had mentioned, he said, there's just, it looks pretty, but there's really nothing out here for deer. And I said, that's exactly right. Deer could care less if there was a tree, folks. And Keith is going to favor those acorn producing trees. And we're going to kill all the beech, sweet gums, hickories. Those trees aren't doing anything for deer. And we're going to get a lot of sunlight to the ground in here. So I think Keith's got a really good plan of how we're going to approach this and manage this area. And we've been talking about prescribed fire and really talking about this terrain, because we have really steep terrain. I mean, we got hogback ridges throughout here, and if we set a fire at the bottom, we're going to get a really hot fire ripping up this terrain. So we're going to light down these ridges and just let it back down through there, low intensity fire, and through time, fire and hack and squirt, we're going to turn this into really high quality deer, turkey, and incredible habitat for many, many species. So this is what it looks like now.
Yep, hopefully in the years to come, it'll look much, much different.
Yeah, we're going to turn this around. And I'm really looking forward to seeing pictures and working with Keith to improve this habitat. So we're working together, putting a plan together, probably going to get him in touch with some programs that maybe help with some cost share opportunities for some habitat improvement projects, and start him on this process and just kind of help him along the way. And hopefully he's sharing some pictures with us down the road, and he's going to have some fun hunting. We kind of talked about earlier, he likes to spot and stalk, and if we open this up, he can look over on these other ridges and almost have like a western type hunt where he can spot bucks going over and bedding down, and he can plan an approach, or maybe that's not a deer he can get, and he just sits here on this other ridge with the right wind, and he can wait till that buck gets up and move somewhere else and cut him off. Or he's going to have a lot better hunting opportunities, and with a firearm, he's looking right into the bedroom. So it's just going to keep getting better.
It's going to be very interesting. I appreciate all the information as well with the different resources that you have available, that we can learn how to do the fires and everything that we need to do safely.
Yeah. So Keith, you've never done a fire before.
No.
So we're probably going to try to get in a fire class so he can learn about fire behavior, the conditions we're looking for. Hopefully get him on a fire, assisting someone, maybe another landowner, maybe come up, help us with a fire at the Proving Grounds too. See how fire behaves. That's one of the best ways to really learn about fires, just hands-on experience. And then come back. He may use a contractor for first couple fires especially in, you know, some of those logging areas where he has a heavier fuel load, needs to get that fire in there quicker. Of course, he'll probably be on that fire learning, and then over time probably get to the point where he and his buddies are just doing these fires by themselves, and it's a process, and there's a lot of options for landowners to do this. So this will be a fun and exciting project for sure.
Absolutely. And then just like you said, maintaining those clear cuts so that we don't lose them after 5, 6, 7 years and you can't see them anymore. Just, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we can quickly lose those, so we got to get fire in the mix quickly. But I've laid out a lot of work for Keith and his buddies, but they're excited to get to work because they know the results that can be produced from these techniques, and we've been walking and talking through that. So really looking forward to this.
Yep.
Well, Keith and I are wrapping up our tour. Had a great day in the field. Keith, we've laid out some projects for you. What are you looking forward to?
Looking forward to, you know, learning how to burn these couple of clear cuts that we did to try to get the improvements in there with the vegetation, and to keep that where it's a regenerative food source for the deer all the time. And then also the timber improvements, the timber stand improvements, you know, picking out an area, project area, 15 acres, and starting that as soon as we get the green up or summertime comes around to make those improvements as well. And, you know, really, I'm actually all the information that you gave me as far as the, you know, that these programs that are out there that we can use to help us fund these projects and learn how to do them. Yeah.
Really looking forward to working with Keith down the road, and looking for, you know, we're going to be talking during planting season. He's getting a drill. We're going to talk how to calibrate and all that, what seed to plant, and really looking forward to working with Keith and sharing updates with you about this project as Keith sends me pictures and whatnot. So make sure you stay tuned for what's to come, because this property is going to really turn around. Really looking forward to it. So hey, I hope you're able to get outside this week, slow down, enjoy creation, but more importantly, listen to the Creator and the purpose He has for your life. Thanks for watching Growing Deer.